Welcome back to Kanika's Corner, and today I'm doing a piece in my mental health space. Now, I'm this cheerful now, but I can tell you that 15 years ago, this was not who I was, and there were a lot of issues that I went through, and there were signs that I just missed, that had I noticed them earlier, I would have gone through that counseling earlier, taken that help earlier, and just become better so much faster. So today I'm going to talk about 6 signs when I look back, realize, make me feel like, hey, this was odd, I should have taken help earlier. So the first sign was, when I felt like things were out of my control, I started going inwards into what I could control. The first thing that I could control was what clothes I wore. And you're seeing me in an outfit that I wouldn't have worn a few years ago, because for me, this is not color coordinated enough. If I was wearing a top, then the bottom had to match one of the colors in the top. So usually I wore a black pant and I wore something that the top had something black in it. That was the easiest for me, because anything else would make me feel so uncomfortable, like I was wriggling out of my skin, that it had to be that color coordinated. Of course, salwar kameezes was the perfect option, because that is so easy to just, have as a full set, and the pattern of it makes sense. That was one. The other thing was that I had to match my shoes to the outfits, and the same kind of shoe, I had 4 different colors of it. It did get to that stage where, it was wondering, is this OCD because of how I wanted things in that particular pattern? And the third aspect of this was, when as a schoolgirl, I would line up our tiffin boxes for my grandmother to fill it up in. I had to line it up in exactly that same way. And so I would make sure I woke up earlier so that I could do the lining up of the tiffin boxes, and that, no one else was taking care of it. Because then I felt, it is looking okay. It is, in a line, or it is in whatever pattern that I choose. But that was sign number 1. Sign number 2 was that I had trouble starting my day. Waking up was a huge challenge for me, and it was things like, okay, I'm going to go set the tiffin boxes in its right order. Those are things that would motivate me to wake up. But otherwise, I just wanted to bury my head in the pillow and not get up. So starting, big trouble. Sign number 3. I sometimes had a really strong urge, or this feeling to make an excuse not to do something, whether it was an activity or even take a session for one of the children I was working with. Really intense, and sometimes I just couldn't push it away. So I would go through with that excuse. I would not do the activity at that point, or not take the session, or not do the job at that point. Feel really bad through that time duration when that would have been happening, and at the end of it, feel absolutely horrible about myself. But there was no way that I was able to motivate myself to do that activity even the next time when a similar situation arose. I've always been on the quieter side, but I think the sign that we didn't notice was that I became more introverted. I felt like I didn't fit into any group. You do feel that sometimes, you feel like you're the odd one out, but that's only with a few sections of people. Here at this point, I just felt like absolutely no one found me likable, and I fit into no one's group. I was terrified of trying anything new. The fear of failure was so much stronger than my interest in learning something new or trying out something new, that every time I thought of it, I dreamt of it, I would sleep and say, I'm going to do that today, wake up, and it was absolutely no, could not do it, would find any number of excuses not to do it, just because I was worried, what if I couldn't do it perfectly? The final sign that I missed out on when I was going through my trouble phase was that I used to practice whatever I wanted to say to someone. In my mind, I would go through how I would start the conversation. Of course, I had no control on where the conversation would go, but how it would start was something that I would practice until I was comfortable with it. And of course, then the opportunity to have that conversation itself would go away. So the few times that I did want to talk, I would just miss out on talking, because I was practicing to make those lines perfect, to make me feel comfortable with what I was saying and make me feel confident about what I was saying. So these are the 6 signs that I missed when I was going through this troubled period when I had depression and a psychosomatic disorder. I'm really thrilled that I went through all the therapy and all the counseling and all that hard work, because 20 years down the line, I love myself. I am comfortable. I don't have any of these idiosyncrasies. They're not troubling my life anymore. They're not troubling others. And while it is a hard journey, it is really well worth it. I talk about it in more detail in 2 videos that I've linked below, The Power of the Mind and my journey with self-esteem. So, if you are finding that you have all of these little oddities that are happening to you, see if there's a pattern. See if there is something else that may be causing them. In my case, it was all about wanting to control the environment and control what was happening around me. And in your case, it may be that, it may be something else. But I do urge you to, go out, take help, talk to someone. It helps so much, and it can make you feel like such a happy person. What more can we ask for? So thank you for watching, and please subscribe.